Hello my lovies and welcome back to Crazy But Not Dangerous. I'm Shorty Vaughn and I'm glad to be back in the kitchen. Thanks for joining me today. So we're going to do some meal planning, some meal preparation, all the good things. It's especially important right now that Andrew and I try to save as much as humanly possible. On Friday, Andrew was laid off from his job. It happens. Yeah. Sometimes it just happens. He had a prior, the week prior, a performance evaluation, flying colors, no big deal. Between that Friday and this Friday, something changed, something happened. I'm not sure what. You know, those third quarter reports finally got read. I have no idea. Anyhow, he was let go without cause, and now he's on the job hunt. This is not a video asking for money. This is not a video I'm not concerned about it. People ask me all the time, what are you going to do with all the money that you save? Well, this is what I do with it. I squirrel it away. When we have an emergency, when we have a loss of job, something like that, then we have savings to fall back on because unemployment insurance in Arizona is very, very low. And it's also taxed. So if you don't think you're getting enough, you're really not going to get enough after the tax man cometh. We're okay. That's the point. We're okay, and we're going to stay that way because I am going to pinch every penny just as tightly as I can. So, you know me, went into the pantry, went into the freezers, went into the refrigerator. What do we need to use up? What do we need to move on along? So these are some things that I've taken out for this week. I thought it would be really nice to have a poached pear salad with walnuts and a homemade little vinaigrette, because we actually love big salads for dinner, big hearty ones. Andrew also requested Swedish meatballs. Well, I've got a package of meatballs. It's pretty big. It's 52 meatballs. We won't be eating the whole thing. I've also got these mushrooms that need to get moved on along. It got all frosty, but I have a 3 and almost 1/4 pound of country style pork ribs. Yay, hooray. We love these. Got these 30% off over at my Albertsons. So I spent probably about $8 on those. Those are going to be good, and those are going to make multiple meals. I'll show you what I do with them. I also found some cooked shrimp. This is not my favorite. I do not prefer this, but this is something that came a few months back in grocery delivery because it's seafood. I also kind of need to move it on along. Seafood, yeah, I think it has a lower time where it's perfect and wonderful in your freezer. I like to use mine before it gets to that, what is this? And I end up having to make like a seafood stock. But if you have old seafood in your freezer, you're hesitant about eating it. Yeah, a seafood stock. Because seafood chowder, bouillabaisse, whatever you make, now's the time for it. Soup-tember. So I have some of the cooked shrimp. I have this bag of wontons. Got these over at my Dollar Tree. And then also from the Dollar Tree, I have this stir-fry blend. So I have everything that I need for a little Asian meal. Yay, hooray. So I think that's going to do us for the week. This package of country style pork ribs will probably serve us at least 2 dinners and a lunch. So even though this was a little bit more expensive, around that $8 mark, it's okay because we're going to get several servings out of it. Okay, some of this stuff needs to go back in the refrigerator freezer, and then we'll get down to business. So the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and get my chicken started. I have a 1 pound boneless, skinless chicken breast. I looked into the freezer. This was the first chicken I saw. That's what we're having today. I also have about 3 cups of cold water. I'm going to add that to my pot here. And I'm going to add my boneless, skinless chicken breast. Any kind of chicken will work just fine. If you have bone in, it's going to need to cook a little bit longer than this one. So just adjust for that. I also have 1 teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon roast chicken base reduced sodium. You know, because we're trying to watch our salt a little bit. Yeah, just a little. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and add that right on in there because I do want a very rich, deep chicken flavor, even though this is not going to cook terribly long. So that will just help pump up that chicken flavor for my dish. Still got my measuring cup. This is not dirty, it's just etched. It still works. So let's go ahead and grab some celery in here. This is how I store my celery. Attached at the bottom, wrapped up in foil, and this actually helps keep it nice the longest. And so I'm going to take a couple of these out, wrap this baby back up, get it back in the refrigerator so it can stay as yummy and delicious as humanly possible. I'll just give these a little wash up. All better. Chop the ends off, and then I'm going to save all of my scrap for chicken stock. Now I could have used chicken stock, but honestly, because I needed to boil this chicken anyhow, or you could roast it, or you could even microwave it if you were so inclined. But I decided if I boiled it and used a little bit of the base, then I didn't need to use the chicken stock today. So that's how I'm getting by. Okay. Gonna give this celery a little chippity chop, not too worried about it. I'm not expecting Gordon Ramsay for dinner, but if he shows up, he could come in and have some of my mama's dry chicken dressing. Yeah, I'm sure he's never had that before. It's the only thing I know that somebody would brag about, how dry their mama cooked it. Yeah, was it bone dry? Yeah, absolutely. So got a couple of stalks of celery. You can use as much as appeals to you. I'm also going to go ahead and put in 1/2 of this onion. Chicken and dressing. So I'll tell you a little story about chicken and dressing involving my 2 oldest sisters. So my oldest sister was Sandra, and then the next oldest was Patty. And everyone loved my mother's chicken and dressing. And the older girls loved it so much that they would fight over it. Anyhow, so it was the Monday after Thanksgiving. The kids had gone back to school, and there were leftovers in the refrigerator. Both of them knew that there was only 1 piece of chicken and dressing left, because my mother would make a lot. Everybody would have seconds, thirds, whatever. 1 piece of dressing left in the refrigerator. So my sister Patty says to my sister Sandy, race you home for the last piece of dressing. And they're running down our street, you know, our washed out dirt road that we grew up on, and they're pushing and shoving and what have you. Anyhow, they race up the stairs to the back door, go inside, and it's dead tie pretty much. And my sister Patty was kind of mad about the whole situation. She wanted the last piece of dressing. Sandy wanted the last piece of dressing. You know, they're getting out of the refrigerator and they're tugging back and forth on the tray of leftovers, you know. On that tray, it was the dressing, some turkey, some ham, you know, and it all covered in tin foil, and they're rustling around and what have you. They get it on the counter, they get it unwrapped, and Sandy goes and puts her hand on that last piece of dressing to claim it. She's going to put it on her plate and she's going to eat it. So she reaches her hand out for it, and my sister Patty took the carving knife right off of the plate of leftovers and stabbed my sister Sandy right through the hand with the carving knife. Anyhow, Sandy started crying and yeah, all the things. She had to have stitches. Patty got the last piece of dressing, chicken and dressing. Yeah, we'll fight to the bloody death over it at my house. Anyhow, Patty got the last piece of dressing. And then after that, my mom always made 2 huge trays. And yeah, 2 huge trays. One for the day of, and then one for the days after, because that was cheaper than an emergency room visit. Here you go. So, yeah, chicken and dressing. We loved it, and the drier the better. And then my mother would serve a delicious gravy over top of it, and that's how we enjoyed it. And sometimes it was what was for dinner, but most often it was, a special occasion kind of thing. I don't think it has to be a special occasion to have chicken and dressing. And I certainly don't condone stabbing anybody in the hand with a carving knife to get the last piece. You can make more. Absolutely. Safety first. All right, I'm going to add this half of an onion. This was a pretty big one. I'm going to add this in here with my celery. I'm going to give this a very little splash of water, and then I'm going to pop this in my microwave for 6 minutes, and that's how long it's going to take to soften this up for our chicken and dressing. So we have our chicken boiling over here. Well, it's almost out of boil. I'm going to let that probably boil for about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to check it with a thermometer to make sure that we're out of the danger zone. I've also put on a pot of water here on the back burner for boiled eggs for breakfast. Yes, that was a special request from Andrew. He just needs a little extra TLC over the last couple of days. He's going to be fine. And yeah, everything's going to be all right. I'm not worried about it one bit. So the other day I made cornbread. And I've let it sit out on the counter uncovered for a couple of days to kind of dry out a little bit. We enjoyed about half of it, and then now we're going to enjoy the rest. It's very economical. It makes quite a bit, and it is really hearty and filling, so it's probably why it is such a southern staple. My mom and dad were from Kingsport, Tennessee, which is northeast Tennessee. Yep, go Vols. Anyhow, I'm gonna just cube up this cornbread. I'm not really concerned about the size of it, but you can chop it up as finely as suits you. That's okie dokie with me. My mother was a woman of strong opinion. That's a fair thing to say. Yep. What she said went most of the time, and there was no changing her mind, and she had a very strong opinion about cornbread. She made an excellent cornbread. Crispy on the top and the bottom. The sides like extra crispy and delicious. The inside, light and fluffy with a great corn taste. Yeah, her cornbread, outstanding. But it wasn't sweet. And she would argue with you about your cornbread. That's not cornbread. Cornbread's not supposed to be sweet. Cornbread is supposed to be savory. It shouldn't be sweet. If you're making sweet cornbread, you're not making cornbread. You're making Johnny cake or Journey cake, and she would fight you on it. You've got a lot of nerve, shorty, serving Johnny cake and telling me that you're making cornbread. Oh, okay, Mom. Well, you know what? I didn't make it. I got it from a mix, and it came sweetened, and it's delicious, and I like it. But anyhow, in an attempt to make my mom's cornbread, I have not added any sugar or honey or any sweetener of any kind to this cornbread. Alright, let's go ahead and add our onions and our celery, and even that little bit of water. I'm not worried about it in the slightest. It will be just fine. Alright, I'm going to add about half of a teaspoon of ground sage, some black pepper, a little bit of salt, not too much, because we're going to add some canned soups, and I don't want it to be too salty. I have a little fresh thyme. Looks super good. Didn't come from my garden. It's not herb season yet, but we're under 100. It's nice. Yeah. So I'm just going to put some of these fresh little leaves of thyme in here. If you have dried thyme, by all means, go ahead. I would say probably about 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme will do ya. But you know, you like it, put a little more in. I also have a little bit of, no, it's not old, it's not Mission tortillas. I just reused the bag. Have a little bit of parsley here that I've been keeping in my refrigerator. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, still looks green and lovely. This is over a week old, and when you store it in a little glass jar with some water and a little bag, create a little greenhouse for it, your fresh herbs will last a very long time. Everything's so expensive now that anytime that you can make something last longer, get every dollar out of it, you know, these are all good things. I'm just giving a little haircut with these herb scissors. I think they're pretty good. I enjoy using them, and yeah, makes it pretty easy for things like parsley, cilantro, you know, kind of your bushier herbs. I have some dried rosemary. This is from my garden. It smells fantastic. I think the color is pretty good too. Anyhow, I'm going to take just a pinch of that rosemary and just kind of, you know, run it through my fingers. Make sure that it's all separated and broken up, because sometimes I think that rosemary can be a little bit woody, and if you hit, you know, like a piece of the stem or something like that, you know, it's somewhat unappealing. Okay, that chicken's almost done. My water is almost out of boil. We're just zipping along. Yay, great. All right, I've got a can of Kroger's cream of chicken soup. We're gonna go ahead and add all of that. And that's why we didn't add very much salt, because they didn't have any of the low sodium when I went over to the Kroger. So these are already pretty salty. And then I also have a can of cream of celery, Kroger brand, because it was cheap. It was 99 cents. And go ahead and get that all in there. Yeah, I just get a spoon and spoon it out, because I know it's never going to come out in a big clump for me. It's not. I'm not that person. It's not going to happen. All right. I gotta go get a couple eggs. All right, got my eggs. I need 2 for my chicken and dressing. I'm gonna put them right here in this measuring cup so nothing happens to them. And the rest of them I want to put over here into my boiling water. So this chicken breast is now cooked, and we're just gonna go ahead and set it off to the side. And I'm actually gonna move this one up to the front, because that's my favorite burner. And then how I like to boil eggs, and doesn't everyone have their own way of boiling eggs? I've tried adding vinegar, I've tried adding baking soda. What I like to do is bring my water to a boil, and then I just take and lower those eggs gently down in there, and then I let them boil for 10 minutes, take them off, let them set for a little bit, put them into an ice bath. They peel fantastic every time. So it's really funny, because my baby sister, she calls me one day and she says, I'm gonna boil eggs. How do you do it? And I said, well, I'll tell you how I do it. And she says, yeah, that doesn't seem right. And I said, okay, well, I'm telling you how I do it. You can do it any way that you want to. So she did it any way that she wanted to, and she called me and she said, they look terrible. They won't peel. I said, well, baby, I don't know what to tell you. I'm real sorry your eggs won't peel. So the next time she calls me and she says, tell me again how to boil eggs. And I told her, and she said, okay, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to try this out. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to be mad. Okay, you can be as mad as you want to be. I don't know. Anyhow, she calls me up. She's like, they peeled beautifully. I said, well, there you go. She said, I didn't really think that you knew what you were talking about. Okay, baby. Well, I love you and I'm glad your eggs peeled. She's funny. She's a funny person. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 eggs in here and get this all stirred up. Now, if your cornbread kind of crumbles a little bit and doesn't hold that cube shape, don't worry about it. Neither did my mother's. So my twist on it, you know, because I live in Arizona, and I'm going to be adding half of a can of mild green chilies. This is a 4-ounce can. I'm going to add 2 ounces to this dressing mix. And these are very mild, so it will be just fine. And certainly this is optional. If you can't take the heat, you don't got to get out of my kitchen, baby. Just don't add them. It'll still be delicious. My mother did not add them, but you know, just like everybody, I like to add a little bit of my own touch, even to a classic recipe. So my mother would understand about half the can. Yep. Don't worry, I'm going to use those extra 2 ounces in something else. It's not going to go to waste. Okay, there we go. A couple of ounces. Oh, those smell so good. They smell fantastic. I'm letting my chicken cool ever so slightly because I don't want to burn myself and I don't want to struggle. So this is the consistency that it is now, and this is really what I remember my mother's chicken and dressing looking like. Yeah, so looking good. Thumbs up. Gonna let that chicken cool. My eggs have come back to a boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes and we'll let those do what they do. My eggs are in a water bath with ice cubes, cooling off so I can peel them. My chicken is a little bit cooler, so let's go ahead and get that chopped up and into our dressing. So it's chicken and dressing. Now, if you didn't have leftover cornbread like I did, yeah, get an inexpensive box of cornbread stuffing. You know, like the stovetop or the store equivalent. They also sell that down at the Dollar Tree. And this will make a lot. This will feed several people, several hungry people. So I'm just going to chop up this chicken breast. No worries, no problems. And get that in there for my chicken and dressing. Oh, Piggy, are you excited about chicken breast? You are? You think you need some? You do? Okay, I've got my chicken breast all chunked up. I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken to the dressing. Yay, hooray. There we go. Get that all stirred up. I have a 9x13 baking dish all prepared with some spray. I have my oven preset at 325 degrees. I know that's going to seem a little low, but we're going to cook this low for about, thank you very much, for a little bit over an hour. We're going to keep our eagle eye on it because, yeah, we're looking for crunchy and golden on top and dry in the middle, and we're going to make a gravy. Okay, so that's what I have saved. My liquid from boiling my chicken is for the little sauce that we're going to make to go over top of our chicken and dressing. So I'm just going to stir this up, and you can see that 1 pound of the chicken is really more than enough so that everyone is getting a good amount of meat in with their dressing. That chicken is going to be fantastic. If you thought yours was a little dry, well, you can add a little bit of the liquid from boiling your chicken breast and just, yeah, won't hurt it a bit. Give it a little extra chicken flavor. It'll be all right. And I think that that is perfect. So that looks very much like my mother's. And so, yep, pretty moist. Maybe even you could say a little soggy. That's how it looked. Pour it into the casserole dish. And then just get that corner to corner. And I would say that that was about 2 1/2 cups of leftover cornbread. So, 2 packages of your store-bought cornbread mix, cornbread stuffing mix should be just fine. All right, that's what it looks like. I think it looks fantastic. Yay, hooray. I'm going to go ahead and get this into the oven to start baking. If I think it's baking too quickly or getting too brown on top, I'm going to put a piece of aluminum foil on top of it. Alrighty, let's see if our eggs peel super easy. Fingers crossed. Put water on them. And just, yep, there they go. And these are new eggs. Just got them at the market the other day. There we go. Easy peasy. Works every time. Yay, hooray. I'm going to peel these eggs, get them all stored up for this week. We're going to have boiled eggs for breakfast. Sounds delicious. So this is the liquid that I boiled my chicken in. And it's exactly 2 cups. That's just a coincidence. A happy coincidence, because I want plenty of gravy for my chicken and dressing. Yeah, so I don't choke. I also got a little measuring cup here, and I've got a little cornstarch. Yes, I keep mine in an old Coffee Mate container. I've got about 1/4 cup of water. And to that, I am going to go ahead and add 2 large heaping tablespoons of the cornstarch. That's going to be the thickener for my gravy. Yeah. This is another way to make like a sauce or a gravy. So we've got a really rich, nice, chicken broth. Yeah, we'll call it a chicken broth. I have a nice little chicken broth. There was no bone in it, so it's not really a stock. We've got some nice chicken broth, and I'm just making a little cornstarch slurry. I've got this heating up on about a 5, and I'm going to go ahead and add that cornstarch slurry to it. Here we go. And now I'm just going to bring this up to a boil. I'm going to taste it for salt and pepper. And that's going to be our chicken gravy to go on top of our chicken and dressing. You won't actually know how thick it's going to be until it reaches a boiling point. If it seems too thick, add a little bit more water. Seems too thin, well, keep boiling. It'll get better. Anyhow, I'll bring it back and show you when it's done. I wanted to come on and just thank you all so much for your love and support and kindness. You don't know how much it means to me. I think of all of you as very dear friends. Really and truly, thank you so much. Now, don't be worried about unemployment. We're not. We're going to be okay. And really and truly, this is not, I'm not looking for sympathy or money or anything like that, but felt like I should tell you because you may see more bargain meals in the future. If you want to help me out, yeah, watch my videos. Like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much. Maybe you could tell a friend or a neighbor. Yeah, watch Shorty. Watch Shorty Vaughn. She's a riot and she's got great budget meals. If you're finding yourself in a similar predicament with unemployment, my heart goes out to you, baby. And if you are in need of help and resources, go to the 211.org website or call 211 on your phone and speak with a representative and, get all the help that you need to get through this time. We are very fortunate because this isn't our first time down this road. We know how it goes, and we know that you stay optimistic, and there's a terrific job for him right around the corner. Yay, hooray. But you may see more budget meals from me. And really and truly, the best way to help me, like, subscribe, watch, share, all of those things so that I can build my channel from a hobby into something that, makes a little bit of money. Yay, hooray. Just going to keep on stirring this. Now, mine had, a little bit of the chicken and what have you. I'm not expecting a super smooth sauce. But yeah, I don't want any lumps of cornstarch in there, that's for sure. So we'll just go ahead and continue to beat this. Okay, so it baked for about an hour, and I've let it sit for about 15 minutes, and it's all golden brown and delicious, crunchy on top, just like it's supposed to be, and cut just like a slice of birthday cake. Got a little bit of our gravy over here, a little sauce. I'm going to go ahead and pour that right on top. And that's how you serve my mother's dry chicken dressing. Yay, hooray. I'm going to grab a fork. Let's do a little taste test. Okay, there we go. Also serving it with a little bit of green beans. And let's see if I got it right. Fingers crossed. Ooh, those green chilies. Okay, that's super yummy and delicious. Just like my mom's. Crispy on top, that little bit of crunch, that stuffing and the gravy, and yeah, a little bit of green bean. Won't hurt a bit. All right, my lovelies. Well, we're going to go watch television and eat dinner. Be good, be careful, look both ways, and I'll see you next time.